everyone, and welcome to the 105th episode of Dragon Quest Slime Time, a Dragon's Den podcast. This is one of your hosts, Pendy.
And this is Jen.
So, Jen, is that a Dragon Quest game you're playing on your phone? That looks like the Dragon Quest V protagonist, but female.
Female? Okay there, Mr. Star Trek Ferengi. This is a game exclusive to the phone itself. It's about an adventure that I have with my phone. It's basically my own Dragon Quest story.
Don't you mean your story?
Kind of, but for me, it's all about the hand of the heavenly groom.
Oh, Hapanini!
Or at least I wish it was, because this is actually a Japanese exclusive that I never got to experience.
And that's okay, because we have a guest who does have that game, and we'll be interviewing him today.
That's right. Let's welcome Petchy to the show.
Hello, how are you?
So, as we do with any new guest, we'll get to know their love of Dragon Quest first.
Hi, Petchy. It's so great to meet you. Our first question is, how did you first get into Dragon Quest?
I don't exactly know the first time I played Dragon Quest, but quite a few years ago, I was just, because PS2 is my favourite console, so I was just buying up a lot of PS2 games that I missed when I was younger, and bought Dragon Quest 8, being the first Dragon Quest game we got in the UK at all, well, mainline. I gave it a go, and then I immediately abandoned playing any other PS2 games and just dived straight into Dragon Quest exclusively because I was completely obsessed.
Yeah, I saw your videos about how a lot of the Dragon Quest games didn't even have a number when they first came over to Europe, especially
Yes.
Dragon Quest 8.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah, they
I
just had the
think-
little subtitle, right?
Yeah, I think there was Dragon Quest 8, Dragon Quest 4, and Dragon Quest 5, I believe, are the ones that don't have a number.
Yeah, and then 6 was the one, I think the first one that had the number, and it was so weird that they decided at that game, like, hey, you know what? Let's start doing the numbers, and we'll start with 6 for some reason.
Yeah, I have got no idea why they decided that with that one. I feel like they should have just kept the numberless scheme for 4 to 6 and then maybe introduce it in 7. I feel like that would have made a bit more sense.
Yeah, I agree. So what is your favorite Dragon Quest mainline game?
Well, I'm going to have to go back to it. It's easily Dragon Quest 8. First one I played, and I just think it is the perfect Dragon Quest game in every way.
A nice introduction into the series, too, I have to say.
Oh, yeah, I still think it's, alongside 11, of course, it's the best introduction.
Oh, no, I agree. Like, whenever I'm wanting to get someone into Dragon Quest who's never played it before, 8 was my number one back in the past. Now 11 is, but 8 is still a great entry point, especially of the modern Dragon Quest games. And 8's one of my favorites, too. It's in my top 3.
Yeah, I'm the same, but 8's number 1, then probably followed by 11. It goes back and forth, but I've settled on 8 being my favorite.
Cool.
Understandable. I mean, I get how those two could wrestle for a top spot. So how about spin-off games? What's your favorite Dragon Quest spin-off?
Yeah, that one's a tough one. There's a lot of really great spin-offs, but there's 2 that I keep sort of flip-flopping back and forth, and it's Rocket Slime and Builders 2.
Yes.
I think-
All right.
I think ultimately, again, I think I've settled on Builders 2 at this point. I feel like, for a Minecraft-esque game, the topics addressed are surprisingly deep, and I don't think there's been a Dragon Quest game, mainline or otherwise, that's made me quite as emotional as some of the points in Builders 2.
Well, hey, you're preaching to the choir here with Jen. That's one of her favorite games in the Dragon Quest series.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what is your favorite Dragon Quest monster?
That one is an easy one. Draki.
Nice.
I'm wearing a Draki sweater right now. I use a little Draki mascot in some of my newest videos to add extra info. Anytime I have something showing up on screen in my videos, again, in the newer ones, it's like on a Draki background. I'm just easily Draki is my favorite.
I love those little guys. They're always like slightly more dangerous than a slime, but still adorable and easy to kill.
Yeah. It does hurt me to kill them, but yes.
Yeah.
It's been interesting with the Draki monster too, because they've come up with some very unique Draki mascots for some of the mobile games.
Yeah.
And the one that I personally liked a lot, even though I never played the game, was Champions. I think it was Dragon Quest Champion or Champions. And they had the little Draki with the sunglasses.
Yes.
Love that guy.
I never played Champions. I missed that one. It wasn't alive for long enough.
I know, it barely lasted. It might have been the shortest shelf life of any of the Dragon Quest mobile
Yeah.
games.
I think 1 year-ish.
Oof.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, let's change gears a little bit. And how about your favorite Dragon Quest actual character, human character or player character?
I feel like I'm continuing to just go back to the same game, but I'm going back to Dragon Quest 8 again. Yangus.
Of course.
Who doesn't love Yangus?
Oi!
I've been actively trying to get Yangus's voice actor, Ricky Grover, to sign a Yangus trading card, and I have had no luck.
Oh, no.
I'm determined. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Yeah, that would be so great if he got on. What's the name of that service where you. Oh, Cameo.
Yeah, Cameo.
Got on Cameo one of these days. Because the actor who plays Sylvando is on there right now, I believe. But
I think I did see that. I think I saw that.
Yeah, but no Ricky Grover yet. Maybe one day.
I believe it'll happen. He's a bit more popular now since he was in Afterlife with Ricky Gervais. So
good. Glad to see him doing well. Now, what is your favorite Dragon Quest game mechanics, such as like casinos, job classes, monster collecting, arena fights, etc.?
Yeah. Well, I have a real problem with gambling in games. It doesn't matter what game it is. It doesn't matter what type of gambling. So I'm gonna have to say casinos. I don't do any gambling in real life. It's not my thing. I don't like having anything real at stake. So I get my thrill digitally.
Well, you can't save if you lose all your money and then go back to that recent save.
Yeah.
So
what's the
I
point?
get it.
Yeah, for the best to stay away from real gambling, anyways.
Absolutely.
Almost always a losing battle.
Or roulette? Which gambling game do you like the most in Dragon Quest?
Probably slots.
Yeah, me too. Although I have to say the slots in 11 that had a story, I could not figure that out to save my life, guys. Couldn't figure it out. Did the regular slots.
See, the one I like the most, and I don't know if you would even consider this to being a casino game, but the match game in Dragon Quest 7, that was always my favorite.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I can't say I know it. Dragon Quest 7 is the one I've played the least. I've not finished it.
It's a lot to finish.
It is.
It is my favorite, so I definitely, have a soft spot for it. But I completely understand throwing 100 hours into that game and not finishing it can be a lot.
I will do it. It's just the only mainline game I've not finished.
Understandable. And kind of in that vein, are there any previous Dragon Quest games that you haven't played yet that you want to play?
I mean, I've played most of them at this point. Again, other than Dragon Quest 7, which I do want to. The only ones I can think of is I've never played either of the Heroes games.
Oh.
I have them both. I just haven't got around to it. I don't know why. I think I've definitely played all the other games that have released in English, and a few of the ones that have released in Japanese only. But no, I think that's it. Those are the main ones that I'm missing.
Yeah, those Heroes games are fun. The first one can get a little bit of annoying sometimes because it has a lot of tower defense missions. But the second one, they improve upon the game mechanics. There's some more role-playing elements to it. There's classes and things like that. So I'm more of a fan of the second one than the first one.
Same. A lot of quality of life improvement.
And you can start with the second one first because they are not related to each other whatsoever.
Maybe when I've finished 7 first, I'll look into that.
There you go.
I've talked to Gronya, who you obviously had on this podcast a little while ago, about the Heroes games. And at the time, she hated Heroes 2. But now she really likes Heroes 2. So.
Oh, and just a quick note to go back to something that you said before. You had mentioned Rocket Slime as being one of your favorite spin-offs. That's one of my favorites too.
Oh yeah, I love it.
It's such a great game.
Yeah, Rocket Slime's good. I can't really fault it. I just wish we'd have got the others in English.
Agreed completely. That's the one thing I don't like is we only have one of them.
Yeah,
that dark ages of Dragon Quest where we weren't getting like any 3DS games. That was one of the ones that we missed, and that was too bad because those are so much fun. But there's a fan translation out there for it, which I need to track down and play one of these days as well.
Is that for the first or third one?
The third one.
The third one.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one out there for the first. I know there was somebody that started one, so there might be like a partial patch, but I don't know if there's like a full translation patch for that one yet.
I've played some of the first one in Japanese. I don't know if there's a patch either. Someone should make one if there isn't.
Yeah, definitely. Now, next we'll go into Petchy's experience with his YouTube channel, his merchandise collection, and the rare Dragon Quest phone and game he picked up.
So your YouTube channel is fairly recent, and the majority of your videos are about Dragon Quest as well. What inspired you to start your channel and making these videos?
Well, if it's not already abundantly clear by my background in all the videos, I quite like Dragon Quest. I like talking about it, and for a while my girlfriend faced the brunt of the info dumping. So first I just started posting things on Twitter because I couldn't stop talking about it, and then I thought I want to talk about it a bit more, so I started making videos. But I mostly like talking about niche things that almost no other person on the planet but me cares about. I mean, my first video was on Dragon Quest themed gift cards, which I don't think has very wide reach. But I collect the gift cards. I think they're interesting. So, But yeah, literally, I was just wanting to talk about Dragon Quest more, and I wanted to subject more people to have to listen to me talking about Dragon Quest.
Give your girlfriend a break.
Yeah, I'll be honest, she doesn't get a break. Because she just watches my videos anyway.
That's a supportive girlfriend. I like that, though.
And I gotta say, I do love how you go into more niche subjects when it comes to Dragon Quest, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to talk to you in the first place, which will be one of our subjects later about that unique cell phone. So it's been very enjoyable catching up on all the things that you've been talking about. And I'll compliment you too. I like how well researched your videos are. Those, you can tell that you're actually going in, you're getting the background information, and you're not just talking off the top of your head. You're actually coming from a knowledge base, which I always appreciate.
Yeah, I do try. I'm a PhD student, so research is my thing.
No wonder. That's why your videos seem so well sourced. Every time I listen to you, I'm like, oh wow, he really knows what he's talking about. Yeah. He knows how to explain this in a way we all understand, but it's very deep. So
I always have to resist the urge to put citations everywhere throughout the video.
I was going to ask about that.
I'm a nerd, so I would love that.
Some sneak in anyway. Sometimes I do add them, but
where's the reference page?
Maybe my next video I'll make sure has enough references.
That's funny. So what's been your favorite video that you've put together so far, Dragon Quest or otherwise?
That's a tough one. I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so usually after I upload something, I immediately dislike it. Realistically, I think it's the Dragon Quest sort of inspiration collab that I did with Gronya, Juki, Happy Console Gamer, and David Vink. That one took by far the longest. It was the most researched one, but I still only ended up putting maybe 1/3 of my research notes into the video.
Wow.
But I'm also quite fond of the second video I did, the Emblem of Roto one, because it was only released on VHS, and I thought it was fun to sort of overlay the animation cells that I've got to sort of show what it could look like if we ever found a complete release print of the movie that could be scanned or something.
Yeah, that is a rare one. Like, I don't think a lot of people are aware of that little one-off movie, which is the only animation I think they ever did based off that manga.
Yeah, it definitely is. 1996, the movie came out.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Honestly, I've been watching some older anime from that time period, and finding, ones that are intact and in good shape, if they weren't widespread, is difficult. So I would love to see like a cleaned version of that.
It's a good movie. I like it. It's short. It's only like 45 minutes, but I like it. I have the VHS because it was released in Japan and in Italy and nowhere else. I have the VHS from Japan and an Italian one.
Nice.
I don't know why. Dragon Quest was really big in Italy for a while, quite early on.
Okay. I'm guessing then that was probably one of the countries that the first Dai anime went to, if that's the case.
Probably.
I'm not
entirely sure.
Yeah, because it went to some countries in Europe. Because I know it's big in France, because they love Dragon Quest. Yeah. But I would bet maybe Italy too maybe got that first anime.
Yeah, the Emblem of Roto movie has a full Italian dub as well. It's not just subbed.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
It's impressive for that time too. So another one of your videos about your Dragon Quest merchandise collection. It's quite extensive. How did you go about collecting all of it? Do you have any go-to places where you get your Dragon Quest merchandise?
Yeah, it hasn't even been that long. I'm very organized, and I have pictures of my shelves like periodically, like every 4 to 6 months, that I've got on my drive, like fully dated, just because I find it interesting to keep track of things like that. It's only been like 3.5 years since I started buying Dragon Quest stuff.
Wow.
It's just I've spent just far too much money. But you can really get a lot just importing from Japan through using a proxy service and buying from like Mercari Japan and Yahoo auctions, rather than I generally avoid eBay because everything's marked up massively.
I've noticed that, yeah.
Definitely.
And there's Amazon shops that will sell some of this stuff too, and it's pretty marked up on
that
site as well.
Apparently it's like sometimes like 1,000% increase when I look on eBay compared to Mercari or more. Like I was looking at something I was interested in. I can't remember for the life of me what it was, but it was something like £200 and then I looked on Buy and it was like 10. So the price discrepancy can be a bit ridiculous.
Oh yeah, I totally understand. I like to go to other sites as well. Like if it's physical books or something like that, I like to go to see if they have it on CD Japan. I've shopped from them before. And then for used Dragon Quest merchandise, sometimes I like to look at Suruguya, and they have a lot of free shipping offers all the time. So I like to look at them them too.
Yeah, I mostly just go to Mercari Japan. That's my go-to because
That's a good one.
That's just the main place it seems that people sell things over in Japan. It's quite tricky to get some of the stuff, and I've been buying a lot more lately because of that Dragon Quest challenge I've been doing in 2025.
Oh yeah, so related to your collection, I saw the video where you're challenging yourself to collect every piece of merchandise from the 1990 Dragon Quest Perfect Catalog by the end of 2025. So what are those catalogs exactly for those in the audience that don't know about them, and how is that going so far for you?
So from 1990 through to 1997, they released one of these merchandise catalogs per year called the Perfect Collection, except for in 1990 when they released two because there was also a summer edition. But there was one a year from 1990 to 97, and it just contains information on what was available at the time, pretty much. And it's a great archival source for what merchandise was made back then. It has the dates, it has dimensions, it has prices. So yeah, it's a great archival source, but it's a terrible thing for my bank account. And how it's going? It's going okay. It's going okay. It's a bit slow. I think I didn't really fully prepare myself for what I was getting myself into. I'm determined to get as many as I can. My current strategy is to start with the rarer things and pick up the more common stuff here and there. I've got a spreadsheet with a pie chart. Again, I like to be organized, and it's got a tiny sliver of green for things I've got. It's quite overwhelming to look at. I think there's still like 160 items I'm missing.
Yeah,
some of them are expensive.
Oh, I'm sure. And I remember when you made the video, you had collected maybe 2 items at that point?
Yes, I had 2. I didn't know they were in there until I looked in and decided to do this video, but I did have 2. There's one thing that I am struggling with. There's a cassette tape from 1997. It's a performance of My Road, My Journey by a Japanese politician, Kazuo Aichi.
What?
I've spoken to a few Japanese music collectors, and as far as we can all tell, there has never been a single one sold through the usual aftermarket channels that we look at, and I'm definitely not the only person hunting for it.
Wow.
I'm not sure how that's going to go. I do have a few potential leads. They're a long shot, but I know of at least 2 people who have or had one of them. So I'm trying. I'm hoping I can pull off a miracle and get that. And because you can't even find like any upload of the song online. You can't hear this particular performance anywhere.
Oh, so super rare. Maybe even lost media.
Currently, it is lost. I've only seen, I think, 2 pictures of it online. It's rare. I did see that there was a sale for the vinyl release of it, but for some reason that one's not in the catalog. I have no idea why, but it's not. It's cassette only in the catalog, so I have to get the cassette, unfortunately, which is a little bit rarer.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the original singer of that song, but she had stopped performing it for a very long time, and she either just did or is about to do a live performance of that song, which I thought was very cool because I saw her on Twitter talking about it. I was like, oh, I love your performance of the song, and so glad that you're coming back to do another performance of it. I forget the circumstances of how the concert was going and why she was doing it, but I thought that was very cool that she was coming back to sing that song. It's such a beautiful song to hear the lyrics to, because most people just know like the music and that's it from the game, but not a lot of people realize that it was a pop song that they made for 2, and it's a very lovely song.
Yeah, it is nice. I really want to hear this particular version. It's cool that she's coming back to perform it again.
Yeah, now I'm down a rabbit hole about this. Very interesting stuff. So, changing gears, among your collection, you've had a lot of Adventure of Dai manga and merchandise. Is this up there on your list of Dragon Quest offshoots?
For non-game Dragon Quest media, definitely. I'd prefer not to talk about the Adventure of Dai game.
I don't know many people who want to.
It's not great. I pre-ordered it, but I mean, I had to.
Of course.
But yeah, it's definitely it is my favorite for non-game media. I just think great characters. The story arc from start to finish is great, and I like that it keeps a lot of what makes Dragon Quest great, but it doesn't hold it too closely. I feel like it knows it needs to lean more in a shonen direction to translate well. So I think that's what makes it so good. It doesn't try too hard to replicate the games.
No, but when it does go into that territory a little bit deeper, like for example, when the Cave of Trials or something like that.
Yeah.
When they go down there, that's a lot of fun Dragon Quest references. Like they're going into like an actual dungeon, fighting monsters and finding treasure and things of that nature.
Yeah,
that was really fun.
It keeps enough of Dragon Quest to make it good for a fan, but also I think it appeals to a lot more people than that.
Yeah, more of a general shonen an audience, like you were saying. Yeah, it's one of my favorites too. Ever since they basically did this comeback of Die, where they did the new anime and all of that, I've gotten really into it, really loved it. I'm just so disappointed that they have stopped with the manga, because I was buying those, and who knows if they'll ever publish the rest of them in English.
I was looking into that. Apparently, it's some licensing issue.
Yeah.
It's not that they just stopped. It's like they wanted to bring it, but they couldn't. I'm not sure entirely what the situation was with that, but I saw something about that. I'm also very disappointed.
No, I'm with you there. And kind of sort of related to that, and this is a title that I hope will be a lot more smooth when it comes to getting published, since it will be directly published by Square Enix as opposed to all these other people getting involved and who owns what. So, I noticed that you had the Emblem of Roto manga collected. So are you looking forward to it coming out in English in September of 2025?
Yeah, I'm always excited when anything Dragon Quest is brought over, because it doesn't exactly happen often.
There you go.
But yeah, that entire set minus shipping only cost me like £15, so it was really cheap.
Oh wow.
You can often get full sets of Japanese manga very cheap. Shipping's the real problem. Have they said whether they're keeping the name as Emblem of Roto?
No, it's going to be the Mark of Erdrick.
That's fine.
They're using the localized name.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's fine as long as they don't butcher the English title like they did with the Dragon Quest X rom-com manga that they brought over.
Rooming with a Gamer Gal.
Yeah, I really don't like that title.
I was watching your video about that, and because we review it on one of our other channels under Slime Time. We review the manga, the English side of it, and I had no idea that it had this other title to it. And when you said that, I looked it up. I was like, oh yeah, it's such a different title.
Yeah.
Like the localized title obviously is an attempt to be more descriptive about what's like going on, what the manga's about, and then the other title is like, oh, that's very interesting and unique.
Yeah, Thou Hast Had a Good Night's Sleep, I Hope, is the Japanese title.
Pretty much what they say when you go to the inn, right? That's what they're going for there.
Yeah. I get it's not very descriptive, but I just don't like the new title. I wish they hadn't changed it so much.
I'm very similar to you, where I don't like when they change them that dramatically. So I think I would have liked that.
Oh, and there's been a history of that with the Dragon Quest series.
Oh yeah.
And all sorts of media. And for our listeners here, it is now out for pre-order. Like within the last maybe couple of days, you can actually go to different stores and you can put down your money and say like, hey, I want it now, because they were saying it's going to come out in February for pre-orders. And I looked there, it was February 1st. I'm like, I'm gonna pre-order it like right on the day, and nothing. And the next day, nothing. I was like, ah. And people were telling me like, they said February. It could be any time in February. I was like, okay, I'll be patient. I guess I'll try and wait. But now you can do it, so I'm very excited for it.
I don't know if it's up for pre-order here yet. I'll have to check. I did look like 2 days ago, and it wasn't, but maybe it is now. I hope so.
Yeah, at least on the USA side of Square Enix, they have a page for it, and now they list all the stores of where you can pre-order it now. So hopefully that it's on the European side too.
I hope so. I'll have to have a look afterwards.
Yeah.
All right, and we also saw that you have from your videos that you play Dragon Quest X with your girlfriend. Are you playing that in straight Japanese, or are you using some of the translation tools I've seen some people put out for it?
Yeah, we both use Dragon Quest Clarity. It's pretty good. It's a good overall the translation tools are pretty solid. They have manually translated all of the versions at this point, and everything else is done with machine translation. But it's pretty solid. My girlfriend in general is not a huge Dragon Quest fan. She doesn't dislike it. It's just not her genre. But she really loves MMOs, so it was actually her that suggested we both give it a try.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm glad you found a way to enjoy that together. I've heard a lot about couples enjoying playing Dragon Quest X together. So I mean, I think one of the ads that they did when they released it for the Switch was about a couple that like got together playing Dragon Quest X on the Wii and then upgrading to the Switch. I remember that. So it's definitely it brings people together.
Yeah, I think a lot of Dragon Quest X is, in my opinion, one of the best Dragon Quest games in general. I think it has a lot going for it, and it has something for everyone, because I've ended up embedding myself quite a bit in the Japanese side of the community rather than the English side, just because we got invited to a Japanese guild. And there's a lot of people who literally the only thing they care about is fashion, or the only thing they care about is doing these like dance performances, which they it was really weird, because when we first joined this guild, we didn't really know much about the game yet, and our guild master sort of took us aside and just started doing some dance with the in-game emotes. And we had no idea what was going on, but what he ultimately did was he sent us a link to a thing, and because we were the first English members he got in the guild, using the in-game emotes, he choreographed choreographed an entire dance performance to an English song to welcome us.
Wow.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we were very confused at first, but it was nice.
Yeah, from reading Rooming with a Gamer Gal, it's been because they have the two main characters and they're very different in how they approach the game. And I noticed that as well, where like one of the characters likes to just be really casual and likes all the fashion aspects of it and just kind of taking pictures and hanging out. And then like another character likes to do the story and do battles, do the arena, things of that nature. So there's a lot of different ways you can play that game and have fun with it, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, they have sort of like community made regular cosplay events where people dress up as characters from other games, whether it's other Dragon Quest games or there's a lot of Final Fantasy cosplay. I remember the first time I attended the cosplay event, it was as Mario because it was just after the Mario movie came out.
That's cool. I actually, coincidentally, I just saw one of those being talked about in one of our Dragon's Den channels about how they did an event to celebrate Dragon Quest III Remake. And there was all sorts of people dressing up as all sorts of characters from Dragon Quest III. One of the best pictures I saw was they did the 3 different versions of Ortega. They had the original sprite from the Famicom version where he just looks like Robin Hood with the different color palette. They had the one from Dragon Warrior 3 that they made for that game, and then like the more modern one, and they were all standing next to each other. It was hilarious.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun, those sorts of events. I've got so many pictures from the cosplay events that I took.
Nice. So you had a good video on the history of Dragon Quest mobile games, and you mentioned that Tact was your favorite of the ones that you've played. So what did you like about Tact more than the others, and did you ever like join a guild or anything like that when you played the game?
I struggle to play mobile games for a long time, but Tact is probably the only one I've actually stuck with until it was shut down in English. But other than that, I played it pretty much until the end. I think that I never joined any sort of guild or anything. But if there's any genre that I feel like Dragon Quest is really lacking in a spin-off, it's tactics games. There really should be more of a full-fledged tactical RPG like Final Fantasy Tactics, because I mean there was the DSiWare Dragon Quest Wars, but that one's also gone anyway. So I mostly just played it in my free time before the English shut down. I've got so they did that giveaway a while ago, and I've got that Super Famicom style box for Dragon Quest Tact that they gave away in Japan as well.
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah, that was one of my favorites too. One of the things that I learned about me and gacha games is that instead of rolling for like equipment and things of that nature, it's not really something that I enjoy doing, like that how you had to do that for Stars or with the die game. But when you actually kind of go after characters and monsters, I enjoy that a lot more, and that was more enjoyable in Tech. And turn-based strategy RPGs are one of my favorite genres of games to play. I love playing Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy Tactics, all the Tactics Ogre, all sorts of different games like that. So to have that as a mobile game was so much fun. But yeah, I wish they could do like a serious like one player, like just a big tactics game as a side game one of these days. That'd be fun to play. I would love that so much if they did.
Yeah, I still think it's the biggest area that the Dragon Quest spin-off side is lacking, for sure.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it's kind of funny when you think about it that we got a rhythm game before we got a full-fledged tactics game.
That's true.
Okay, so we are going to now move on to the mysterious Dragon Quest phone. Petchy, can you explain to us about this exclusive phone that was made in collaboration with Square Enix back in 2013?
Back in 2013, there's so much about this phone. I was so excited about it when I saw it, so I bought it as soon as I could. On the surface, it does just look like a Dragon Quest reskin of the SH01F, which is the model of phone that it's based off. It was released by Docomo in collaboration with Square Enix, and the SH and the SH01F indicates that it was developed by Sharp. So it's actually a three-way collaboration. They all had a hand in it. Sharp was responsible for a lot of the design of the packaging, including the little cardboard slime cutouts in the box, and of course the hardware itself. The design of the back of the phone was Square Enix suggestion, because they wanted to have lore that within the world of Dragon Quest. So the point is the phone was sort of it was created by a blacksmith using fragments from murdered metal slimes.
I love that.
It's the nicest looking phone I've ever seen. I absolutely love the style of the back, but there's so much more to it than just that, because all of the software, everything, Dragon Quest is weaved into all of it. And they only made 30,000 of the phone, and I don't know how many have been lost or broken over the years. I mean, phones don't usually last that long, so who knows how many are still around. And the game that's embedded on the phone is only playable on that edition. So it's a pretty rare Dragon Quest game if you look at it that way.
Yeah, I was thinking about this after watching your videos. Like, did I ever hear about this? Because most people hadn't. And like, I vaguely, after I searched my thoughts, I was like, I vaguely remember hearing about the phone, but I did not know that there was a game associated with it. So
Same.
for this game that's basically baked into the software of the phone, like, how does that work?
Yeah, I actually had no idea either there was a phone. There was a game on the phone. I talked about the phone on Twitter a long time ago, back when I first bought it, and I never turned it on. I just had it on the shelf for over a year.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And I had no idea that there was a game on it. I decided I was going to see if I could make a video about it, because I didn't know if there was really enough content to make a video on it. So I turned it on, and then I learned about the game on the phone. I was very excited. But yeah, it's called Adventure Dice, or Anytime Adventure Dice, which not the catchiest name, but it's a very casual pick up and play game. It just gamifies the entire usage of the phone. I know I joked in the video that it's literally the gamification of phone addiction, because in the interview I saw from back in 2013 when they were talking about it, the guy behind the whole thing literally said the whole philosophy of the phone is the more you use it, the further you get in the story and the adventure. Just through using the phone, it's receiving emails. I'm trying to remember the exact thing. It's receiving emails, steps you take, and calls you receive that contribute primarily to the advancement. So there's multiple ways that those contribute. As you receive a call, you can get randomly attacked by a monster, and answering the call will defeat the monster. That's one of the ways you can encounter monsters. It also contributes to points you receive, and as you get more points, you gain dice, which you can use to move around a board game style map. Ultimately, the game is more of a like collectathon type thing, because there's 800 monsters to encounter, so they really went all out and added a lot. And there's 999 mini medals that you can collect.
When you said that on your video, my mouth fell open, especially when it was like, oh yeah, it's easy to get like 200, and then it slows down.
Yeah, because when I was originally like scripting the video, I didn't know, because there's so little info about it, and my monster encyclopedia said, I don't remember the exact number, it was like 300 or 400 and something. And then I played it a bit for capturing footage, and I looked again and the number had gone up. So I was like, oh, I need to fix that. But there's 800. I know that now for certain, and I know that because I found that Japanese user who wrote a blog article for like 2 years. He was writing blog entries. He wrote like 50 or so blog entries about how he was trying to complete the game. Ultimately did complete it. Said it took them 4 years to finish it. So it's quite big, but you can encounter monsters in other ways, because there is the just getting ambushed while you're getting phone calls, or you can encounter them as you traverse the map. And if you encounter them while traversing the map, there is combat.
Ah, okay.
It's just basic one button combat. It tap to attack. That's simple as that. But there is item, character progression, vocation switching. It is a Dragon Quest game. It's got a lot of the hallmarks of what makes a Dragon Quest game. But the thing I found most interesting is there's a lot of stuff in the phone, like Dragon Quest wallpapers and Dragon Quest emojis and things, which are already installed on the phone, but you have to play the game to unlock them. So the more mini medals you collect, the more things you unlock. And it's all Dragon Quest themed, but one of the wallpapers, you need to get all 999 of the mini medals to unlock it, which sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, you showed the picture of that in your video, and
yeah.
I was not super impressed with it, honestly.
Yeah,
that
wallpapers, the one I showed is from the blog post of that Japanese person who showed it, but I've since gone into the phone files and extracted the full thing.
Oh, that's cool. I know this is not the way that the game necessarily works with the phone, but all I can imagine is like a situation where I get a phone call. It's like, oh, hey, Grandma, just hold on a minute. I got to defeat this green dragon, and then I can continue talking to you.
The actual full art for the wallpapers are a bit more impressive than what I showed, because it's not actually in the aspect ratio of the phone.
Oh.
It's a much larger artwork, as I found out once I extracted it from the files. I did not know that before, but it is, and it's nice art. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, no, I I saw you talking about the hero vocation or class. I know I was joking about it in our opening, but there's a hero class that's related to the Dragon Quest V hero in some way. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a fun one. It's actually the Monster Master class.
Oh.
Their depiction of the Monster Master class is the hero from Dragon Quest V. And if you choose the female variant of your character, then you get what is very clearly a female version of the Dragon Quest V hero, which
I love that.
I was trying to find if there's any other official art of like a female Dragon Quest V hero. There's tons of fan art, but I couldn't seem to find anything official. So maybe this is it.
That's really cool.
That would be so funny if they, because Tact is still going on in Japan, if they actually had that as a character you could get in Tact one day.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
There is a hero class in the game, but they used the art for the Dragon Quest III hero for that one.
Nice. So I saw you got your hands on a used copy of the phone that had, kind of most of the game complete, or at least part of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a way that you can factory reset the phone so that you can just start from scratch?
This is one that I'm not entirely sure on, and there's a reason I'm hesitant to try. It's a Docomo phone, and a lot of things are locked behind being in a Docomo serviced area.
Oh.
Because when I was trying to capture footage, my phone is on Android 4.2.2. The problem is they didn't allow screen recording on Android until version 4.5. So capturing footage was a pain. So I thought, okay, I'll update. But the phone just started shouting at me that I'm not in a Docomo supported area, so I can't update the phone. So that's why I'm hesitant to factory reset it, because I don't know how much would be lost, if any. Maybe it would. I think it would probably be fine, but I don't know that for certain. And since there's only, less than 30,000 of them at this point, I'm sure, I'm hesitant to reset it and lose some of what's there because I'm not in the correct zone for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that could be a thing where, like, if you factory reset it and then you start the phone and then it's like, hey, are you in the right coverage area so that we can get you going? And then it's like, no, that's too bad.
So I think it would be okay, because I imagine it's part of the original operating system image for the phone.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm hesitant to try it, so I'm going to leave it as is.
Well, see, now you need to go to Japan one day and get into that coverage area, and then you can do it there.
Yep. When I go, I'll take it with me.
Perfect.
And what are your favorite features of the phone or the game on the phone? What are your favorite parts?
There's a lot to it, and I think my favorite thing is just the general concept that it's not just an app game, but the fact that it is the entire phone. Because monsters attacking you when you get a phone call, etc., things like that. That's my favorite thing about it, because normally, it's already kind of wild that they included this whole extra exclusive game into a specific, very limited model of the phone. And the fact that on top of that, they just embedded it into the entire phone itself, I think, is the best thing about it. It's a bit wild where I'm constantly trying to use my phone less, while if I was using this phone daily, I think I'd struggle.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, I would want to, because you said you can get points from just walking around, right?
Yeah.
I would just want to go out for walks. Be like, hey, honey, I'm gonna go take a walk. Why? Are you trying to get in shape? No, I just need more points for my Dragon Quest game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how far I could get, but again, because I'm not in a Docomo supported area, I'm limited on how I can use the phone.
Yeah.
I did gain some dice, so I'm clearly doing something. I think probably steps and maybe emails received, because I did add my email to the phone, is probably the only ways I can still play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'd just send myself a bunch of spam emails or something.
That's amazing. So do you have any upcoming projects or videos that you would like to preview for us?
I very much just make videos on whatever I'm interested in at the time. That's why my video is quite an eclectic mix. Before too long, I will definitely have an update video of where I'm at with the 2025 collecting challenge for the catalogs.
Cool.
I do have some big plans for a Dragon Quest video, likely more than one, but that will require me to be driving all over the UK for it.
Ooh.
I've been thinking about this one since long before I started making videos. I don't know when that will happen, because it's a huge undertaking. It required me to drive from where I am up to Scotland, then down south, all over the place. And again, it's a very niche thing that only I think I'm interested in. I can sort of say what it's about because I've been going through it on Twitter and I've done a few shorts on it, I think. But but my girlfriend a while ago bought me a set of Dragon Quest CD soundtracks. And rather than using any like art, they have pictures of real places on the cover of the CDs.
Oh, wow.
And they don't say where the pictures are from. So I've been going through like looking for clues and trying to find where they're from, like I'm playing GeoGuessr. Like if there's like a name of some pub in the background, I've been finding out where they're all from. Like there's one in the village of Snows Hill in the Cotswolds, but they're basically all UK based. And I've wanted to sort of just make like a trip of it and visit every single location on the front of those CDs.
I love that.
And try and find the spot where they took the photo.
That is so cool. I almost accidentally did that myself for something related to Dragon Quest Media. There's a performance of the Dragon Quest IV soundtrack, and it's a lot of it is seeing Koichi Sugiyama composing, but there's also interspersed into it are all these different scenes at this castle and these around the castle area and whatnot, and all these characters doing various whatever. And I didn't realize that the castle that they filmed it at was in the UK, and it was actually when I was there for a week for work 2 or 3 years ago, it was actually on my agenda to go visit just because I wanted to go see the castle, because it's like this big tourist trap area where you can do all sorts of activities, and they got this little show in the dungeon, which is what they used in the Dragon Quest video too. They have like these little awfully, I forget what you call them, but these little guys that are like machines that are like doing little scenes and stuff like that. Kind of like at a Chuck E. Cheese, like those little guys just moving around, and it just looks ridiculous. And unfortunately, I got sick and I didn't go that day. And had I done that, I would have been able to see where they filmed all of those scenes from that video.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, so I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, I need to go back and go visit it, because it was so funny to think that like, oh, I almost went to this Dragon Quest location, but unfortunately it didn't work out. And I almost had to go back for work to that same area. And I had these plans where I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to go visit it. But then I ended up retiring from my job, and my replacement, he ended up going instead of me, because I was getting out soon, so it didn't work out. But maybe one day if I go back to the UK, I can go visit that castle, because I want to go see that location, especially the dungeon, because I want to see if those little kooky little robot guys are still there, just being tortured and whatnot, like they were in the video.
Do you remember like what region it was? There's also a castle on the CD box set that I'd have to visit as well.
Oh, I'll look it up and I'll let you know after we're done recording. I'll tell you which one it is. It's a big touristy area, but yeah, I can look it up and I'll send that to you for sure.
Was it in England, Scotland?
It was in England.
It was in England. All right, it's different castle then. Different castle.
Yeah, it wasn't too far away from, like, it wasn't, maybe because I wasn't in London, but I was maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours northeast of England at one of the RAF U.S. military bases that are there. And it was and if you go east from there, maybe like an hour drive from that location. But I'll look it up for you and I'll send you the name of the place afterwards.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know. We have a lot of castles, so.
Oh yeah. Maybe that can be part of your trip.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can add that if I'm passing by, which I probably would be, because they're all over the place.
Oh yeah.
These CDs, it's like countrywide.
All right, that's all for this episode of Slime Time. Thank you so much for coming here to talk about your involvement in the Dragon Quest community.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks again for coming on. So we're a non-profit podcast. We won't dial away your hard-earned mini medals when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra gold that's just completely burning a hole in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, hanging wall sack, or treasure chest, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, stop by the Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links that don't cost you anything extra when making other Dragon Quest purchases, which now includes the Mark of Erdrick manga that you can pre-order there.
We even have a Slime Time shirt that was designed by our resident artist, Dwayne. See the link for it in the show notes.
You can direct comments or questions for the podcast on X and Instagram at DQ Slime Time.
Join in tons of DQ discussions at the Dragon's Den forums or Discord, Questers and Slime Time groups on Facebook, and the brand new Dragon Questers Discord.
Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast.
Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.
This is Gertrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.